Hello everyone, welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. Welcome to your class on getting Parajumbles right in your last lap to CAT. Now, Parajumbles, as you know, are theta questions. They do not have any negative marks. You do not get any negative marks. But why are we doing this session? Can you all hear me and see me? Please reply quickly on the chat before I talk about today's session. Okay, good. Good evening, Apurva. Good evening, Shweta, Ritika. Not visible, is it? Now am I visible? Okay. All right. Now am I visible? Nice and as large as life. Good evening, Kirti. Can't see me yet. All right. My technical person is fiddling with the computer, I can see. So he will quickly set it right, I'm sure. All right. And the moment I am visible, say, yeah, we can see you. Let me just write to him that I'm not visible. All right. So why are Parajumbles important? What do you think? Parajumbles are important or not? All right. Why are we doing this session? One, so that you get your Parajumbles right. You don't take the wrong approach to Parajumbles, and the wrong approach to Parajumbles is just to mark any option. काले अक्षर भैंस के बराबर, I'll mark whatever I want, A, B, C, D, D, C, B, A, whatever comes to my mind. That's not the right approach. Our approach to Parajumbles is to try to get as many questions correct, actually you have to attempt all the questions. You have to get Parajumbles correct in the minimum amount of time possible to spend on it. So you have to brush up your basics of Parajumbles. Know the rules. There are very few rules. Learn some tricks to get to solve them quickly. All right. Don't waste too much time practicing Parajumbles, but take mocks, because when you take mocks, you will know after doing 4 passages, after doing summaries, how much time do you have for Parajumbles and odd one out, and in that time, how many are you getting correct. So use the open mocks, use your mock tests to see what is the optimum time for you to solve Parajumbles. You can do it 2 ways. I normally solve the Parajumbles that I think are easier. Okay, first, I quickly read and I say, oh, this I can't find it. And so I do all this in the last 5 minutes, all the juggling that I want. Sometimes the difficult one, just mark something and go ahead. Don't waste too much time. The key is, however, some of the rules we'll tell you, which will help you get them right. If you get them correct, it will be a huge increase in your percentage, in your percentile. Everyone has got their CAT admit cards, slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, all the excitement. Now the fear, there is that little fear that comes in, that little nervousness. It happens to me every time when I see the admit card. No matter how many times I see it, I've taken the test so many times that I've forgotten. But still, every time you go to take the test, it's a new experience. It's like, you know, a T20 match that you're starting afresh. But you want to be like a Virat Kohli, you want to do really well, and that's the key. In many ways, slot 1 is good. I always feel, but I've got 3 this time. 3 leaves you feeling very tired, and that nervousness, the anticipation is not that great. But anyway, somebody has to also go into slot 3, right? Biology, linguistics, science and technology. All right, lot of slot 2, some slot 3s. All right. So, what are the topics on which you get? Hello, Nikita. You get questions on Parajumbles from biology, linguistics, science and technology. Actually, there is no limit to the subjects, but generally you get more questions out of these topics in Parajumbles, parasummaries, and odd one out. How to wake up in the morning? Well, my daughter is an owl too. She says I won't sleep at all. If I have to get up in the morning, I better not sleep at all. But yeah, morning is the best time of the day. Just get up. Yeah, it's the best time of the day to study, to do everything. All right. So 35 out of 108 questions in the last 5 years were from these areas. Okay, that doesn't mean you really start reading these with Parajumbles in mind. Read more articles from biology, linguistics, science and technology so that you know the method of argumentation. How does an author put his ideas forward? And then it is easier. So generally in science and technology, they say this happened, this was found out, this was the conclusion. There is some sort of a flow, and that is what they want to see. They want to test your ability to understand a person's argumentation. Understand the flow, understand the logic, right? And they make life difficult by not following that logic themselves sometimes, all right? Parajumbles and summaries can come from any source. It's not just restricted to editorials, articles, anything, but generally Aeon, Economist, because these Aeon has essays on a lot of topics. If you look at their menu, if you look at their the number of subjects Aeon covers, it's everything. Everything is covered under it. Economist also has politics, has culture, has world culture, has science, has everything in it. So these kind of magazines will help you read on different topics so that when you face a parajumble, you will kind of understand the flow of thoughts. All right. Now, what did the CAT 2021 paper look like in terms of parajumbles? Slot 1 had 2 easy and 1 difficult. Many students got these 2 correct. This, no minus marking. So, some got it right, some got it wrong, because it was difficult and you don't have that much time to spend on it. If you had all the time in the world, you'd get all 3 correct. But for the time that you invest in it, 2 out of 3 is fantastic since there's no negative marking. Similarly, slot 2 had 2 out of 3. But in slot 3, there were no easy jumbles. Most of them, 2 were moderate and 1 was difficult. So it depends on the question setter. Somebody with maths like me has put 2 plus 1 is equal to 2. Alright, so you take it as that parajumbles will be moderate, will not be very difficult. Odd one out is even easier than normal theta parajumbles. Today we will be doing theta parajumbles, non-MCQ parajumbles. Are you prepared? How do you know you are prepared? I'll ask you 2 questions. Do you take a lot of time to solve parajumbles? What is the average time you face in it doesn't matter, no. You cannot have problem with difficult ones. Ayush, how will you have a problem? You are going to solve the parajumble regardless of whether it's easy, moderate or difficult, because there is no minus marking. So you look at it, when you solve the parajumble, you think your logic is correct. So none of us, unless, you obviously are intelligent enough to know that you should never skip a question which has no negative marking. What have you got to lose even if you get it wrong? Right? So you mark everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, doesn't matter. But spend at least, how much time are you spending? 10 minutes for how many questions, Nishi? 1 question, how much time are you taking? My maths is very poor. 1 to 1.5 minutes, ideal time. Not more than that. And you won't have more than that. You can't spend more time than that because your 4 passages in RC itself will take you a long time. So if you get 2 minutes approximately, you have to get them right because you are investing a lot of time. If you're spending 2 minutes, you're spending a lot of time on them. So imagine 3 parajumbles, 2 odd one out, 3 summaries, right? 8. So you are spending 15 minutes on parajumbles, odd one out and summaries. You'll see the 3 summaries you spend 2 minutes. But the 5 parajumbles that you have, don't spend more than 7 minutes. And that too only if you have the time. So that's the question. Second one, do you read the sentences? How many times do you read the jumbled up sequence when you solve it? How many times do you read the jumbled up sequence before solving it or as you solve it? As you solve the Parajumbles, do you read it more than once, again and again? If you are doing no, you shouldn't. I'll tell you. As you are reading the Parajumbles, you have your order. Okay, I think 1 is going to start, 2, 3 or A is going to start, C, B is a mandatory pair. Now where do I put D? As you are reading it, so you should not read it 2, 3 times, maximum 2 times, not more than that. If you are spending more time than that, then you are wasting time. Got it? So what are the rules you keep in mind? Let's solve today. Let's solve the questions and then you will see how you're going to read it and what you should do. All right. Okay. What are some of the rules? Okay. Again, I'm saying these are not hard and fast rule. For every rule that is there, the cat will find a parajumble, which is the exception. But generally, when you have a paragraph in which a person is in which they are describing or talking about a person, full name comes first, then the first name or the surname. Having said that, there have been passages that cat has given where it has not followed this method, but very rarely. So this is the general rule, right? First you say Michael Schumacher and then you say Schumacher. Noun and pronoun. First I'll say the name Shah Rukh Khan, Virat Kohli, Shaheen Afridi, whoever, then only I'll say he or she or him or her, or right? So noun pronoun order you keep. If you see somewhere a name has been mentioned and somewhere him or it has been mentioned, then you say what is the antecedent to this? This pronoun may not be the beginning. Which one does this pronoun refer to? Who is or what is it talking about? Right? The definite article, the dog, the house, the decision, the problem. Okay, when it says, then see if there is a sentence before that where the problem has been mentioned as the first time, where it would say, this is one of the problems India has. The problem has proved to be intractable, means can't be solved, right? Very important, demonstrative pronouns. This, that, these and those. It is this attitude that is wrong. It is these functions that help somebody do something. The moment you see this, that, these and those, again start looking for an antecedent so that you can get a mandatory pair. Two sentences which have to go together, B and C have to go together, B has to come before C, those kind of rules. Correlative conjunctions sometimes. More important are the connecting sentences, the connectors, the transition words. Why? Because they say generally people believe in A and B, however, then you will say A and B will come first, however is stating the opposite or contradiction, that will come after this. So those are some of the ways in which you figure out what is the order of sentences. One other rule that helps most people, at least helps me, is to look at chronology and tenses. When nothing else works, look at the chronology, the order of events, and the tense usage will help you determine that. Alright. In any case, as you are reading the jumbled up sequence, try to identify the theme. What's he talking about? What's he talking about? What is she talking about? The moment you get it, is it the Russian war in Ukraine? Is it Russian policy, Ukrainian policy, India's policy? Then things will fall in place. Alright, that's the main thing. There are many authors who don't follow general sequence of writing. Authors don't follow general sequence of writing, Pragya. Cat also chooses badly written paragraphs. But I'm saying generally when you keep this in mind, it helps you at least find the mandatory pairs. See, in my cat has come a long way. Cat was a kitten during my time. It has become an absolute ferocious tigress for you people. In my time, it was very simple. You had the paragraph, the parajumble was started with the beginning of the paragraph. So you never chose sentences which start with but or however. Well, paragraphs don't start with but and however. But there have been a lot of passages now which are taken from the middle of a paragraph. Who says that a parajumble sequence cannot be taken from the middle of a paragraph? So howevers have started sequences, buts have started sequences. It doesn't matter. You can't outguess things and say, what if the examiner does this? You have to look at the logic and pattern. By and large, see rules which follow. So generally, when you're looking at a opening sentence, it has to be a stand-alone sentence. What does that mean? A stand-alone sentence is one which introduces a topic, one that doesn't require any introduction for us to get its meaning, right? So if you find such a sentence, it should be the first one in the sequence. But I'm not saying every time you get a standalone sentence in a parajumble, it will turn out to be the beginning. Now, so let's say you think A looks like a good starting sentence. All right. Now, B also looks like a good starting sentence. And then you have C, D in the middle. So you see that AC doesn't connect as well as BC. Okay. Now, BCD is there. A does not look good here. It has a very loose connection with B. So you will put A here. Suppose A doesn't connect at all with D. There is no way you can say A and D have any connection. Then even without any conviction, you say A will be at the beginning. Maybe it's ending some thought before it, and you continue. So when you're left with one sentence, you don't know where to put it. You know that BC is definitely a sequence. All right. And then you say, okay, CD also looks okay to me. Now, where do I put A? If A doesn't follow D, put it at the beginning. I don't know where to put it at the beginning. Those kind of rules you have to follow. All right. Cheating, it's not called cheating, it's called testing. See, why would they give you questions where there is no negative marking if it would be that easy? Right? There has to be a catch somewhere. So the catch is that under pressure in 1 minute, you have to mark it. 1.5 minutes. They know that most students won't have the time, which is why the negative marking part has been taken out. Because you can't expect students to solve this question correctly in the given time. Right? So what is the little concession they have given you? Okay, let's not give any negative marking. So then you're tempted. This is where strategy comes in. You're tempted to spend time. You know, if I get it right, I'm going to get so many marks. If you end up doing that at the beginning, you will spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes, still get the questions wrong because your accuracy in Parajumbles cannot go beyond 65 or 70. So normally many students have this pattern. If I don't have the time, I'll mark B for all odd one outs. If I don't have the time. If I don't have the time, I'm going to mark B, C, D, A for all the Parajumbles. That's how they prepare and go. You need to have a strategy in place. You'll say, okay, I have 4 minutes left. I will answer 2 Parajumbles, 1.5 minutes, 1.5 minutes, and the rest odd one out and Parajumbles, I'll just mark whatever I want. Keep that, you firm up that strategy when you are taking your mocks. And remember, don't fall for stereotypes. Don't say, however, cannot begin the sequence, so A cannot begin the sequence. You can't go with the set pattern that this cannot happen. Once you found a link, once you've decided this is it, mark and then say a silent prayer to God that you get it right. You can't cross-check 10 times to see if it's correct or wrong. I tell you to do that for an exam like XAT where the Parajumble has a negative marking attached to it. But here, you're supposed to do it quickly. Your good luck, you get it accurate also. Summaries, you can get more correct. You can get almost all correct. Odd one out, I can guarantee you 80-85% accuracy. Parajumbles, I can't. Because every time, see, BCDA, BCAD, you got BC correct. But somewhere you thought AD makes more sense than DA. Today, I'm going to give you questions where you're going to challenge me. You're going to say this also is equally logical. But I am still like the cat question setter. I have the original passage with me. I'll say original passage says ABCD, so it is ABCD. You understand? So a cat question, there is no subjectivity involved. He doesn't look at the logic. He'll say ABCD is the correct order. You know that CD and DC doesn't really matter. For example, if a sentence has certainly in sentence construction, sometimes you get sentence jumbles. In undergrad exams, they give you sentence jumbles. Now, certainly, comma, I will help you. It's one way. I will certainly help you. Without the comma is equally good. Now in sentence jumble, they don't give you punctuation marks. So I will certainly help you. Certainly I will help you. Both are correct, no? Then, so that way there are things that work. I'm going to give you 1.5 minutes. All right. 1.5 minutes. Please solve. And then we'll work it out. Let me get my timer. The moment you solve it, please post your answers. Okay. All right. I'm seeing BDAC, BACD, ABDC, DBAC, CBDA, ACDB, everything. All right. What if I tell you now that C is the, oh, what happened? Sorry. Oh, what if I told you that C is the, wait, let me get this right. This thing is, okay. Let me go back to the earlier slide. See, those who said it is, what's the first answer I saw is, all right. Somebody said it is CA, all right. Yet Mr. Joe's, no, somebody said it's BADC. Let's read the jumbled up sequence as it's given. Despite years of efforts by the media, by academics, even by, now don't skip reading the jumbled up sentences. Read it, articulate it, vocalize it so that you know the stress where it is. By academics, even by social media companies themselves, it is arguably more pervasive than widespread today. And widespread, what is the it? So A cannot start the sequence, all those who said A. When you're looking at it, it jumped from his app to other social media platforms, not to mention podcasts, talk radio or television. Yet Mr. Joe's baseless claim pulsed through the public consciousness anyway. So what are we talking about? Joe's baseless claim. So C is the beginning. Okay. Then it jumped from his app to other social media platforms. Within 48 hours, more than 1 million people saw his claim. So his claim has to come, D has to come after C. Despite years, it is arguably, to address the problem, false claims, it is arguably the most, 1 minute, let me remove this. Yeah. The most pervasive, arguably more pervasive and widespread today. Whatever he's talking about, baseless claim, fake news, whatever he's talking about. Got it? So the answer is CBDA. Alright, okay, I have to be very careful with the next question. Okay, again, start the next question. Do it on your own, quickly. Find pairs first. Ananya, I'll answer your question. All right. What's the answer? I'll answer your question, Ananya, after I finish this. All right. What is the correct order? Please give me the question number. All right. Please give the question number. Put it as 2 and then it's easier for me to see. ADBC, ACDB, DCBA, DBCA. All right. Okay, what is one pair that definitely has to go together? What is one mandatory pair here? What is this referring to? We see her becoming a gay icon. Who is the her talking about? We see her talking about a gay icon. Who are we talking about? In the option C, who are we talking about? We see her becoming a DC, because we are talking about whoever this Tammy Faye or Katie Braben is. So DC is definitely together. Now, infectious in its music, exuberant in its performances, and glorious. The problem here is two. You can say that these starry names must be talking. This is the stereotype we fall into, that DB has to go together. Many of you fell for that, because these starry names must be this Tammy Faye, her first husband, whoever. But the point is that Tammy Faye's first husband and TV co-star Jim Baker as Tammy Faye. So Tammy Faye is the character's name, not the star's name, if we think that much and read. So the biggest problem is we will think of DB. Alright. Now the problem is that DC goes together because this definitely is talking about Tammy Faye. Alright. Then, but it pulls out all stops, forget this. Infectious in its music, exuberant in its performances, and glorious in its gloriously kitsch. Kitsch means cheap art. In its aesthetics, it is stylishly pulled together by director Rupert Gold in its story. So whatever we are talking about right here, do you think AD will go together in its story? Whatever. A is talking about the director, so must be a movie, and in its story, so you have AD. Now, this B, can you put it after B? We can see her becoming a gay icon, but it pulls out all stops. So, assume that this B is talking about something continuing, and then ADC go together. Common it in A and D, correct? Right? So, it will be BADC. B does not go after C, Kritika. B cannot go. C is talking about Tammy Faye. B is talking about a movie. So, how can B come after C? Now, we can say two things. We can say, oh, B starts another line of thought. Okay? But normally that doesn't work in Parajumbles. So, you will say, okay, B is the beginning, starting another line of thought. Very rarely B starts another line of thought works. It has happened in CAT. They have tricked us like crazy. But here it doesn't work. Most of the cases you don't know where to put the starting, put a sentence, put it at the beginning. Your chances of getting it right are more. Alright. Who was talking about this? It can talk. It is not the post. His post about his claim, and yet Mr. Joe's post. So within 48 hours of the post happened because of B, right? Because of B, D happened. It traveled to all social media platforms. That is why within 48 hours of the post, more than 1 million people saw it. So the logic now we can think back and say, okay, this was tricky because here star names is where you connect B and D together. Alright, B, D will not go together because these starry names in its story, it's as much about Tammy Faye's first husband, comma is the name of the actor. So these are not starry names, these are names of actors, these are names of characters. Brackets only gives the name of the stars. Got it? Alright, next one. This is a cat question. I think it's a cat 1999 question or something. A good one. Start it off. Give the question number, please. Not sure about CMAT classes. Right now our focus is all on CAT, then on ZAT, IFT, SNAP, so many things coming up all at one time. Yeah, question 3, BDAC, BDCA, BCDA. Alright, many of you now come that B is the correct starting. Alright, B is the correct starting. One of you is correct, maybe more than one. Group decision making, however, does not, so this talking about something, so something opposite to that. Group decision making, however, doesn't necessarily fully guard against arbitrariness and anarchy, for individual capriciousness can get substituted by collusion of group members. Instead of an individual dictating or being whimsical, you can have a group dictating. Nature itself is an intricate balance of system of checks and balances meant to preserve the delicate balance between various environmental factors that affect our ecology. In institutions also, there is need to have in place a system of checks and balances which inhibit the concentration of power. When human interventions alter this delicate balance, so B talks of delicate balance, D talks of when human interventions alter this delicate balance, the outcomes have been seen to be disastrous. In institutions also, we need to have a system of checks and balances. However, so instead of individuals, you should stop concentration of power in the hands of individuals. However, group also does not fully guard against anarchy. BDCA. Alright, many of you got it right. Many of you got B, the starting sentence correct, but CA also you got, many got BDCA, but others got a little carried away by the sequence. Alright, next one. Another CAT question. Previous year CAT question. I don't remember the year. Give the question number before you answer the question. Alright, start posting your answers. Question number 4. ADCB. Priyanshi, think again. ADBC. Is it ADCB or ADBC? So I'm seeing most answers. Some are ADBC, some are CB. Alright. See which one works better, CB or BC. Now remember, just because it says thus does it have to be the ending, that is the stereotype. That is the stereotype you're falling into. Look at what is coming after thus to see what is working. So in rejecting the functionalism in positive organizational theory, either wholly or partially, there is a move towards a political model of organizational theory. The political model holds that individual interests are pursued in organizational life through the exercise of power and influence. Thus, the analysis would shift to power resources, because here D is talking about power and influence. Thus, the analysis shifts to the power resources possessed by different groups in the organization and the way they use these resources in actual power play. At the extreme, in one set, they say that totally it is about political pursuit, not related to anything else. Alright? Okay. So, most questions will use this logic. Some of them will be like the first question or the tricky question on films. We are giving you a mix of everything. Don't get disheartened if you got the first few questions wrong, okay? Another tricky one because of one sentence. You will get, see, a miss is as good as a mile, unfortunately, in Parajumbles. Even if you get BC instead of CB, you don't get marks. So, work on this. It's talking about something else, JJ. Your names are very small, so I have to peer and look at it. Alright, question 5, Yash says is CBAD. Alright. Which is a good standalone sentence? Are you sure you would choose C as the starting? Yash, Parth, are you sure C? Pallavi, are you sure D starts the sequence? Which one looks like a good starting sentence? Let's start with what do you think is a good beginning for this sequence, and what are the what is the pair here? By intelligence, we mean a style of life, a way of behaving in various situations, particularly in new, strange and perplexing situations. When we talk about intelligence, we don't talk about the ability to get a good score on a certain kind of test, or even the ability to do well out at school. These are at best only indicators of something large, deeper and far more important. Don't you think these two go together? We are not talking of good scores on a test or ability to do well. These good scores and ability to do well are only indicators of something large, deeper and far more important. By intelligence, we mean a style of life, the way of behaving in situations, particularly in a strange situation. Now, the true test is the way you behave in a strange situation, and the true test is how you behave when you don't know what to do. So, B, D, A, C. Okay. The tricky one being whether C should come anywhere else. Because you can say you're talking of intelligence. When we talk about intelligence, the true test of intelligence, no. B, D, you have got it. Okay. Then it becomes easy. Once you get the B, D link, the other two become easy. Alright. But to get the B, D link, you have to read and understand. Okay. That's why this is a tricky question. I tried it on my colleagues. When one of my colleagues made all Parajumbles. She's very good at Parajumbles, I told you. All Parajumbles classes, she only creates. We discuss what is to be used. So, when we did it, lot of mistakes, especially in this, I took more than a minute and a half to solve it. Just to cross check that I'm right. Alright, next one. Quickly. After this, I'll give you only 1 minute per question from question 7. Alright, because we're running out of time. So, I'll give you only 1 minute for this. Why not means that's the way it is written. But A cannot follow B. No, D will follow because he's talking of the two parameters in D. Okay. Alright, what's the answer to this? I can already see a correct answer. Many getting the first sentence correct. Alright, lot of correct answers. Such a national policy, alright, will surely divide and never unite the people. In fact, it suits the purpose of the politicians. In order to inculcate the unquestioning belief, they condemn the other states. So, we have all pronouns here. The emergence of the theocratic states where all types of crimes are committed in the name of religion has revived religion of the Middle Ages. In fact, it suits the purpose of the politicians if they can drag people into submission in order to inculcate the unquestioning belief. They, the politicians, condemn states which do not follow their religion, and such a policy, such a national policy will only divide the people. Got it? Alright, next one. Little tougher than the earlier one. Let's start. See, the logic, your logic versus mine kind, that's the passage we have taken and cross-checked it. So, I have not made a mistake in the ordering of sentences. I have told you the logic behind it. Sometimes like AC, CA, both are logical. But since the author wrote it as CA, we will go with it. In some questions, both work. But you can't argue that this looks better. Both are the same. Okay. Starting is correct. Starting is correct. That's all I can say. Alright, what if I tell all of you that A starts the sequence? A starts the sequence. Now give me the correct answer. You will still not get it right because it's a tricky question. Logic works both ways. Okay? Having a strategy is a matter of discipline. Alright? We can say B, it requires strong focus on profitability. It is having a strategy, a willingness to make tough decisions. Then a company can go this way. But the answer says this. Tell me, will this work or not? ABDC is the answer. ACBD could work equally well. Logically and grammatically, ACBD is also perfectly right. But in the exam, the CAT question setter uses the paragraph which is given this as the order. So we have to accept this. So this will be a question where you come out of the hall saying, I got all my Parajumbles right, and then you figure out it was wrong. No logic will work. Understood? This is the one that is given, so this will work. But this also, if anybody is marked this, correct, nothing wrong. Alright, okay, next one. You are doing it at 1 minute, so your errors may be more now. Can't answer why. Saurabh, can't answer why. That's the problem. That whichever way you look at it, it works, right? Alright. Let me see your answers. Lot of you will agree B starts the sequence. Alright. We are at a crossroads now in our vision and practice of development. Half a century ago, development began as a hope for a better human possibility, but in the last 50 years, this hope has lost itself in the dreary desert of various kinds of hegemonic applications. But today, so it lost its way. But today, there has been a change. There's an epochal challenge to rethink and reconstitute the vision and practice, which calls for a lot of changes. Alright, many of you got that right. Very good. Alright. What if CAT suddenly gives you a shock by giving you a 5-sentence parajumble? Same rules as a 4-sentence parajumble. The asking rate increases from 10 runs and over to 16 runs and over when it becomes a 5-sentence, because you have to look at 2 links, then you have to think of the starting, then you have to think of the ending. Quickly tell me, within a minute, CAT, you have this as your last question, 2 minutes left. Quickly give me the answer. Doesn't matter if you get it wrong. Quickly, at least try to look for a starting sentence, try to look for a link. Time double, tension double, accuracy half. The last 2 options, the last 2 sentences by my head. Okay, let me see if I can cut myself off. I don't know how to do that. Okay, that's bad. Let me move out. I can't do that either. Fortunately, let me move out. Does it help? I'll just move out till you read the question. All right. Okay. Because earlier I knew how to shut off the camera. I don't know how to do it now. All right. Answer. How many of you got at least the first sentence right? Nihar, very good. All right, now when you got A, E, how come you wrote B? When you travel around the world, you collect human beings. Why would you again talk about then you come across the unpleasant? First, talk about the pleasant one. I am much more tolerant of human beings' shortcomings than if I'm an intolerant. Then, but I've been lucky that most of them are willing to assist you, and then you got. All right, last question of the set. Last question of the set. I hope I'm not covering the screen. Ah, very good, very good. Question 10. For which one? Shivani, for which question? What's the answer? For the ninth, it is EACBD. EACBD for the ninth. Let's look at the 10th. Quickly. Okay. Give me your answer. What if I tell you? Okay, Yash. Almost correct. The last three letters would you consider changing? Studying reproduction and parental care in the fossil record is a challenging task. Why is it challenging? Because research relies on rare discoveries such as nests and pregnant adults who were carrying offspring when they died, but they hardly have fossil records which are this type. So because of that, there are significant gaps in our understanding of our broader bestial family. Bestial comes from beasts. All right. And the last would be, but paleontologists have found alternate ways to get insights that they lack in terms of fossil evidence. All right, the same answer as the earlier one. Okay. So don't waste too much time in reading. As you read the Parajumbles, read it once, but articulate it, vocalize it, pause in this, that, these, those, then form links. Don't randomly mark unless you are running out of time. Have a strategy that if I'm running out of time, last 50 seconds, 30 seconds, I'm going to mark ABCD, DCBA. Have one number which you can mark. All right. All right. I hope you will join us for our sessions from Monday till next Monday. Saral, Nikita, Srinivas and Gaurav will be taking different sections of VARC, Quant and LRDI. Okay. Take a screenshot, keep this and stay locked at 7 p.m. for our classes. We have a detailed slot-wise analysis on November 22nd to 27th. Don't forget to join us. Do take the All India Open Mock and tell me how you fared in it in the next class. All right. Any of your friends want to join CAT 2023? You know the comprehensive programs that we have for you. Follow us on our social media handles. All right. Make sure you join us tomorrow. Join us on our next last lab sessions. All right. So until I see you next time, take care, study hard, but enjoy your preparations at the same time. All right. I will see you very soon. I hope this was fun. Parajumbles for fun more than anything else. All right. See you. Bye-bye.